go crazy?
No, I'm warm.
So the biggest question I get asked is, isn't it cold sleeping back there at night? And the short answer is, yes, it's very cold. However, there are a few things I've done to kind of warm it up back there, and we're gonna go through each one of them. So the trick is there isn't one thing that's gonna make the camper warm. It's actually a combination of many things, and that includes insulation, a heating source, and what I'm sleeping on. First off, the insulation is probably where I put the most effort. The entire top of the shell is insulated with fiberglass insulation that has an R6 value. And this was necessary because it's an aluminum camper shell. If it was a fiberglass camper shell with inner carpeting, this may not have been necessary. The cold travels directly through that aluminum, and this fiberglass insulation stops it in its tracks. On top of that fiberglass insulation, there's paneling and then carpeting, which also can add a little bit of insulation, but probably not too much. On the bed of the truck, there's a thin reflective insulation. I'm not sure what the R value of that is. And then on top of that is more carpeting. So that stops some of the heat from coming from the bottom of the truck up into me while I'm sleeping. As for the windows, I cut pieces of the same reflective insulation that'll go right over those. A, that stops some of the heat from leaving out through the windows, and B, it provides me with some privacy and darkness when I'm sleeping. Sort of just makes the whole place more cozy. So now on to the sleeping arrangements. The biggest thing is getting that separation from the bed of the truck to the mattress. One of my close friends, who's actually going to be posting on his YouTube channel soon, created this bed frame for me. What that bed frame does is it provides a huge gap of air that the cold would need to travel through. That gap of air helps protect me from the cold that's coming up from the ground and underneath the truck. What the bed frame also does is it gets me closer up to the top of the camper where the insulation is, which is usually where all the heat kind of packs together up at the top of the camper near the insulation. The mattress itself provides insulation, and on top of the mattress I actually have a camping pad. Not sure exactly what the R value is there, I'll put it up here on the screen. And that does a huge job of keeping my body heat right around me. I can feel when I'm sleeping, if I put my hand over the other side of the mattress where the pad isn't, that's a lot colder than right on top of the pad. Then after the pad, what I'm sleeping in is a sleeping bag rated for 30 degrees and up. Does a really good job of sort of packing in all my body heat and conserving it throughout the night. If I don't have that on, that's probably the biggest factor. There have been instances where I slept with just a sleeping bag when I didn't have all my setup in there yet, and the sleeping bag is definitely the biggest thing. Depending on how cold it is, sometimes I'll have to zip it up all the way to my face. Other times I can just zip it up to my waist. It really depends on how cold it is. But if I'm not diligent in zipping that up, it's gonna be a problem usually. Then on top of the sleeping bag, I usually use 2 thick blankets, one being my tiger blanket and one being just a brown blanket, both very warm. And usually if it's super cold, I'll wrap those up in a sort of blanket burrito, sometimes a double blanket burrito. And lastly, my favorite part of the heating effort would be my propane heater. It's a Mr. Heater Buddy heater, and it runs on these 1-pound propane tanks. Usually I'll leave this on for, about a half hour to an hour. One can will usually last me about 4 to 5 hours, and this will make the entire space super toasty. If I leave it on, usually it's actually too warm. So it's sort of a game of leaving it on to get it warm, and then, sort of seeing how long that heat takes to dissipate. And again, the biggest reason this heater actually makes a difference in here is because of all the insulation. If there was no insulation, the heat would just go out into the air. The trickiest part so far has been insulating this wall of the camper, this back wall where the door is. Even when the tailgate's up and the window is down, there's still several gaps that a draft comes through, and I haven't really found a good way to cover this whole wall yet. I've put up these curtains, I hung them up on a curtain rod, and they do a decent job of giving me privacy and a little bit of protection from the draft, but I really need to look into getting some specialty insulating curtains. or even, you know, like some sort of thick covering I can put on when I'm sleeping. Any suggestions, please leave in the comments. So for one of these 1 pound canisters of propane, typically you're going to be paying around $4 for a new one. To get the price to about $1 per canister, you can refill them. Now doing that's at your own risk. The manufacturer says not to do it. Within the community, there's a consensus that it's okay, and so far I haven't had any problems with it. There are people that have refilled the same canisters for several years, and they just say to make sure that there's no leaks in them, to listen if there's ever possibly a leak. Most people have never experienced anything like that. So with refilling them from a bigger propane tank, the cost comes down to about $1 per canister. And I'll probably go through about 1 or 2 canisters a night, so $2 a night for heat's not bad at all. So yeah, depending on how cold it is out, the back of here gets pretty warm within about a minute or two. Setup usually takes, you know, a good 2 minutes, 3 minutes to put all these up, to put up all the insulation, to get the curtains set, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's already, I'd say, just as warm as I'd be inside. But yeah, that's really it for now, guys. I'm gonna break all this down, get back out of here because it's not time to go to sleep yet. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Give the video a like or a comment if you want. And yeah, stay tuned because I'm gonna be doing more focused videos like this on, you know, a given topic rather than just, you know, how my day's going. I'll still be sprinkling in ones of, you know, just random adventures, random thoughts, but I need to do a few of these really focused ones to help, you know, the people out there that are looking to do something like this themselves, or people that are just wondering how something like this works. I know there's a lot of people out there who want to try this full time. I know there's a lot of people out there who want to try this, you know, once or twice, that want to have a setup they can go camping in. So it's my goal to help you guys out with that, and it's also my goal to hear from people out there doing it already, or maybe people that aren't doing it but have a suggestion they want to see come to fruition. So just keep giving those comments. You can DM me, you can follow me on Instagram at SAYMW. You can give me a DM on there. But yeah, guys, I'm pretty much going to be doing this until God closes the door for me on this, or opens the door on another living opportunity. I prayed about this a lot before I did it. It was a big step and a big risk, and there was a lot to learn, but like I said, I really think God put this on my heart. And you know, anything I get out of this, guys, all the glory to Him, and I'm just going to enjoy the ride. So yeah, again, stay tuned, and I hope to hear some questions and comments from a lot of you. Stay blessed.